My mother's death certificate was filed 3 years before she actually died. Someone else had been living as her the entire time. My mom's name was Carol. She kept a small notepad by the kitchen phone, wrote down everything anyone ever told her, because she said she never wanted to forget the things that mattered. When she got sick, she moved slower, got quieter, stopped filling the notepad. She passed on a Tuesday morning, and I started handling her paperwork that same afternoon, because that's what you do. You keep moving so you don't have to feel it yet. The paperwork is where everything stopped making sense. I went to file her death certificate with the county. The clerk looked at her screen, looked at me, and looked at her screen again. She said, "Sir, there's already a record. Your mother was declared deceased 3 years ago." I told her that wasn't possible. My mother had been alive 3 years ago. I'd had dinner with her 3 years ago. She turned the monitor toward me. Carol, her full name, her social security number, declared dead 3 years, 2 months, and 11 days before the Tuesday she actually stopped breathing, and her benefits had been collected every single month since. I thought it was a clerical error. It wasn't. The money had been going into an account I'd never seen. Not her bank, not her name on the account technically, but her information used to open it. A billing address I didn't recognize on a street 20 minutes away. I called the number listed on the paperwork. Disconnected. I called it again from a different phone. Still disconnected. Someone had been answering for her, filing for her, collecting for her for 3 years. Her neighbor, a woman named Ruth, who'd brought Carol soup every winter for 15 years, told me something that made my stomach drop. She said a woman had been coming by the house, not often, but enough, picking up mail, answering the door when Ruth knocked, speaking to Ruth like she knew her, knew my mother's name, knew the soup thing. Ruth had just assumed it was a relative she'd never met. My mother had no relatives who lived nearby. Whoever she was, she hadn't just stolen my mother's information. She had studied her, practiced being her, worn her name like a coat. My mother didn't know, or she knew, and she was too afraid to say anything. Either thought made me sick. The billing address traced back to a name. A woman who had worked briefly as my mother's home care aide 2 years before the fraud started. Someone who had been inside the house, had seen the mail, had sat across the kitchen table from my mother and helped her take her medication. Her name was Diane. Diane, who had sent flowers to the funeral home. Diane, who was standing 20 feet away from me right now, holding a white lily, eyes red, crying for a woman she had robbed for 3 years. I didn't move. I watched her sign the guest book, watched her hug my aunt, watched her take a seat near the back like she had every right to be there, like grief was something she'd earned. When the pastor asked if anyone wanted to share a memory of Carol, Diane stood up. She walked to the front. She opened her mouth. I stood up too. I said her full name, loud enough for the room. I said the address on file, the account number, the date the first check was deposited, 3 weeks after she'd stopped working for my mother, 3 weeks after she'd had enough time to copy down everything she needed. The room went completely still. Diane didn't say a single word, because there was nothing to say. 2 detectives were waiting outside before the service ended. The fraud investigation had already been opened. I'd filed everything the night before, while the rest of the family was sleeping. She was charged 4 days later. The county corrected my mother's record. Carol, alive until Tuesday. My mother died twice, once on paper, once for real. Only one of those deaths was hers.